back in the machine room. It's actually been probably 3 or 4 days at least, or over a weekend. I have now made a drain plate that's going to go over there. The filters from Serdi are still useless to me because I haven't got the cap and things like that in place. But I'm just going to buy filter paper and basically lay it over the whole thing. I might cut a little shape out of it to go around that motor. But this cable isn't supposed to be in there. That's just the pump that I put it in with. I've now got this side plate on. These two actually super loud. How does that go on? So that actually goes up in that space there. And then there's a little plate that goes there to protect oneself. Yeah, this is a pump. So this is now a point where you can obviously put your valves down and it drains. So I've got a drain linked up. That goes down into the inside, into that little tub. There's the fluid that's gone in. And we are now, let's get this out of the way, to a point where we have got pumps. Let's turn this on. Shum, shum, shum. So we have got, it's random feed. So we can open that one. And if I get this pump going, chum, chum, chum. So this is your random feed pipe, which is obviously pumping fluid. Then you've got the second one up here does this, I think. Oh no, does that one, which is your rear grind. Yay, so we can actually turn that off, which is cool. I've turned the other one off to get the pump up. I'm assuming you're only supposed to have one of these on at a time. This pump might be a bit sucky as well. Interesting. It was running a little bit better than that earlier. But nonetheless, so that's that one. So I'm going to just turn that bottom one on a little bit. I don't want to. And then the other one, which is the next one up, is that one there. So eventually that will come out. So yeah, so it's mainly going to be this top one, and you can see it all returning. No filters yet, but you know. So then obviously, yeah, point that at the old valve. I have got a filter because I thought, I'll see how it goes, but I've got the filter paper coming, or some samples coming, so I can buy a reel or a couple of reels. I might do like a 5 micron and then a 15 micron or something like that. You can see crap running down in there, but at least if I put this filter on the outlet of this pump, I mean it flows quite well, I've checked it. Let's just turn that off. If I put that filter on the outlet, then it will keep even things cleaner. I don't know if you can see that, but there is literal crap flying through here. So once we obviously get everything sorted, then yeah, filter paper, and then I might put a filter, cut into this and put a filter in there. I might not, but I suppose once the filter paper's in, it's gonna collect it all. But everything seems to be working other than that. I got new valves. These all now work, so that's nice. I've got the lubricator working, which is pretty cool. Well, I mean, it's just standard stuff, but obviously you've got a drip ratio, but nonetheless, it's, you know, doesn't sound like, I mean, the instructions are basically useless, but it doesn't sound like you have to use it all the time like you would on an actual air tool. I think it's going to be a case of you turn it on for 20 seconds while you pulse all the solenoids around, and yeah, basically that's that. And I have also put the actual finishing door section in. I've got to get a door, nip down to the old B&Q, but yeah, so it's currently got plastic on it because I'm trying to keep the room decent. I've got the old smart dehumidifier. I've got one of these in the office now as well, instead of that over the over the top one that was in the office, which is really for like drying clothing and stuff like that. But yeah, these are like smart ones, so hopefully they keep, the office is down at like 40 to 45%. So I'm going to get the humidistat and temperature thingy to go over here as well, so then we can keep an eye on this room. But had a little scare obviously with the moisture that decided, these were literally mint brand new, and now they've got surface rust on them, which sucks. I've just had all the Serdi parts come through, well the rest of the Serdi parts for now. So I've got my slightly longer clamps, which means this dodgy thing here can actually be done correctly, and I can put it, well, right on the edge nicely instead of can't quite reach it. So yeah, I don't know how much, oh they are a fair bit longer. £160 each, lovely. And then we've got, I've just taken the old ones out, we've got these like frictionless pads, so I've installed those, and we now have the drive pads for the smaller valves, which is nice, and hopefully these won't melt like the other ones did. I mean, I know you put weird oil in there, but we've got really small ones for tiny little valves, obviously way smaller than that, because I think that will still go on there. Yeah, that still goes down there. So now I've got this massive one, which I dropped, that massive one which has seen some wear, and then those two, and the main one that we'll be using, which is this one here. And they're like they're actually quite a soft rubber, and they've got little like indentations, little circles, so they fit on there perfectly, which means that valve, wherever I just put that valve, that can go in there. Hopefully they won't get caught, because I've only got one hand. No, I didn't get caught that time, which was lucky. Would have ruined probably those brand new. Probably go up a little bit actually, looking at that. You can see how that sits on there. Let me zoom right in. We're just on the very top, so probably, although I don't think this has got enough, I don't think this little thing down here has got enough movement on it, because I know this is a short stem valve, but yeah, I feel like I want to, and that's full height. I'll just release that, that's not on there anymore, that is, yeah, no, that's full height. Wow, okay, interesting. I wonder if that one's any taller. We might have to go over to this one, if it's any taller. Fun. Let's have a look. No, I think that's exactly the same size. Oh no, it is ever so slightly taller. So actually, that might, although it's not a great idea, on this short stem one, it might be the best choice. Oh, knocked it off. Quite difficult to hold the camera and do this. What's that there, you sod? Yeah, that's madness, isn't it? One-handed. Oh my gosh, I can't find it. Where is it going to clamp? I'm going to have to get that right. Oh really, I want that higher than that. Oh. Let's see if I can do that. I'm not going to risk that. No, screw it. Yeah, I mean that fits in there much nicer. Whether that's square on the valve, is that central? That is the question. I actually don't know. And will it spin it as well? So that is also the other question. Bit zoomed in there, that's a bit better. Let's just have a look. Oh yeah. And we're on a 34mm valve, which this is. So I've set my speed. Obviously I'm not going to cut that angle, but I suppose it'd be right for back cuts. But yeah, she seems like she's driving. It's quite easy to stop though. But I guess that doesn't really matter because you'll be touching it lightly. So yeah, I suppose these I could use as spares. They're pretty mullered though. Well, so this was leaking down here. There's like this top plate. I've resealed it all. It's now not leaking. It's been like a week easily. I've had a play around. I put the wheel on here. Unfortunately, it was wobbling like a mil. Probably at least a mil, maybe 2 mil. I could physically see it, so it was quite a bit. So then, this is where we are now. So that was on there, and I was reading a wobble in this of 0.2 millimeters on the outside. So obviously, by the time you extrapolate out, that's where I was getting my 1 to 2 mil wobble. I mean, like I said, I didn't measure it, but I could see it by eye. So yeah, I don't quite know what's going on, whether this is bent. It's quite thin, so maybe it was dropped at some point. So I might be able to tap it back straight, but basically that has got a wobble. Could be some crap on the underside, but I doubt he's ever taken this off. Or maybe he has taken it off. Oh, who knows. But I've just DTI'd that. Let's have a little look. So, that'll be for me. And I'm going to call that nothing. That is as square as a die. Maybe 0.1 of a mil or half that. You can't really see from this angle, and that's me whacking it. Oh, 2 seconds. So it's not even 0.01 of a millimeter, so we're going to be like, I don't know, maybe a tenth or two. So it's not that. So it must be wherever I put it, this up here. There must be something going on here. Now I appreciate it's got some corrosion on it. I might have you, but something ain't right. So I might go on, I wonder if it was just crap on the back of it, because I could see some shit on it. That might be where I put it up the top. So yeah, I'm going to check this is flat, and hopefully if this is flat, then it was just a bit of crap behind it, and then I can bolt this back on, and then the wheel will be straight instead of wobbling 2 millimeters. And then I'll be able to grind some valves. Right, so I've still got to measure that. Moving on from that, the coolant feed in here, I never got the information back from Serdi. He's trying to talk to another guy, one of these machines, but honestly, I don't see much hope. Which means I don't want to run coolant through here, through the shaft, and it comes basically through there, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, there's a tiny little hole just up there, so the coolant shoots out of there, keeps the diamond tip obviously lubricated and cold. So what I'm thinking is, because that whole system isn't going to work, I think I'm going to drill a hole in this casting and basically that. So I'll be able to use the coolant, which is for this back one, on a really long thing. If I drill a small hole in there, I mean, I'm going to test it, but if I drill a small hole, I can block it up with a rubber bung or something, but basically stuff that in there like that. Switch the pump on and see how far she goes. In fact, I'll just do that. The pump seems to be coming on automatically on its own at the minute. So I don't know why that is. There you go, just randomly came on. So what we might find is that one's on, but that one's not come on. Well, it is having fluid flow through it. Oh no, it's not. So it should be, oh yeah, it's done up. Second one here. So let's just turn that on. There we go. Yeah, so that'll be fine. That literally will not be an issue. Happy days. That's perfect. So obviously I might need to drill it at an angle, because so I might need to drill it at an angle so it's like that, but that's basically, oh there you go, just shuts off randomly, comes on and shuts off. It's like there's a problem with the button, and that button doesn't seem to now turn it on and off. So I don't know whether that's a temperature thing No, oh, there you go. Just fucking, come on, mate. Interesting, because the lock light's also coming on, but that's not possible. But if I turn that on, that, see? Oh, there's no air. Huh. So that'll be locked on, that's why. So that's lights on when they're closed. But turn that off, for some reason the fucking pump comes on. I can't remember what that's even for. But nonetheless, so that will work fine, even with all the other ones open apparently. So yeah, happy days on that front. I think that's basically the best way to do it. And then at least that part of it's done, and it's not going to cause any major issues to drill a hole through there. No, shouldn't do. I'm just going to turn it back off because it was... No idea. Might be temperature related. I might try and warm it up because it's only 14 degrees in here at the minute. Need to put some insulation in, I think. I think the temperature in the office, which is fully insulated, just with this little dehumidifier running, is like 3 degrees higher than it is in here, and obviously slightly drier because there's more moisture in here for it to suck out. But I think that is basically the next things. I'm going to drill a hole, make sure that's actual. This is perfect here, so it must be that plate that's got a wobble in it, and then hopefully I can grind a valve. There is something else, that the fluid that's in this has made these PVC pipes absolutely rock hard. So this one, you can see I can squash that. This one, no fucking chance. That is so hard. I'm sure they're going to get brittle. Or they already are rock hard and probably brittle, but I don't know what to do about that because it's standard PVC piping. So I don't know whether it's the fluid that they've supplied, because this is not the correct... Well, Serdi have supplied this fluid. It was a whole weird conversation, but this isn't the original fluid. That was a much thicker oil, so I was like, oh, maybe they've improved it to modern. But no, this is a fluid they've run for a couple of years that they've still got left over, but now they've moved away to another fluid. So who freaking knows? Because it's much thinner than what I was expecting. And I've seen other people use in videos and things. So I'm guessing at some point we get rid of all of this and we go back to sort of a more of an oil-based fluid, which I have got some when I ordered from Pommy or Pom. Oh yeah, there you go. That's a much thicker oil. So hone oil. This is what I bought for the honing, the diamond hones, which I've now got as well. 2 seconds. Right, so, oh yeah, hones. So they're just things. Let's have a look. These are the hones. And because there's a whole bunch of tools. So, valve concentricity. Dun, dun, dun. It's 2 seconds. Right, so valve concentricity. So I mean, this is quite a big valve, it's a 2-inch valve, but so that's quite a lot of run out there. I can't really spin it with one hand, but that would be good for checking the valve. I've got the seat concentricity gauge here. With a 10th gauge, so that should be very accurate, assuming you can get everything. It sits in a pilot. The Serdi pilots don't work because they're straight, which means they sink to the bottom of the guide, and then you're relying on the taper on the pilot sitting at the top of the guide. It doesn't matter. I've purchased, actually today, 2 tapered pilots, and they're tapered by, gosh, what is it? I think 4/10. So I think there's actually, must be 0.2 of a millimetre over, fuck me, what was it, 40 mil or 50 mil? Once I get them, I'll have a look. But yeah, so the taper is very gradual. So I think it's 0.2 of a mil over 40 something mil. So hopefully, I mean, repeatability will be the test. But if I put that in on a tapered pilot in the guide and then check the seats, and then I'll basically do it like 10 times, and we'll see the difference we get. And because we're on a 10th gauge, that should make a decent difference. These, oh yes. So this is the diamond hone. So you've got a diamond hone in there. Keep your guides to the right size and diameter and make sure they're straight. That basically goes in the end. This has got like a little ball socket on it. So it should have enough play where you can go in. I can either use a hand drill or I could use the Serdi machine, I guess. Can I? Yeah, I suppose I could. Yeah, I'd have to... I mean, it wouldn't really matter, but I could set it up on the Serdi machine. It'd just take a lot longer, and the drill's going to be easily enough. But I could set it up on the Serdi, but then we could always check. No, because you're going to hone the guide, and then you're going to do the thing. Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, so they're all the little tools. Obviously, super cheap. I think these are only like, well, you know, 200-300 quid each. I think this was about 300 or 400 quid. Oh no, these are, yeah, like 300 and something quid each. 350, I think, each. And that little thing, you know, mere £1,000. This was I think, yeah, 350 quid. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper in America because it's where all this stuff is made generally. But so, be interesting, grind a valve, check it. Once I've diamond faced the grinding wheel and we got that in balance, because that is a wobbly mother bugger. And then, yeah, we can check a seat once we finally get this. There is some news on this, actually. Depends on when this video goes out or whether it will continue in the other one. This actually balances up, no problem at all, without the DTI gauge on it. So I've put those magnets on, actually. It does need these magnets, which is a little light stack, and it needs this magnet, which is actually quite heavy. But this is for that goes on there, and that actually does the DTI. So the DTI bolt's on there and it touches off on here. But this obviously is all fully floating. But of course I was thinking before, oh yeah, well if it's down there, it's not touching the spindle. But of course this whole sphere in here, this is a ball in here and this is the outer part. So, or is it, no, yeah, so, ooh, this is the outer part and this is the ball. So actually all this weight is on the spindle. But so once you get the DTI off and you have that on there in the middle, that on there, this is 100% straight. Like I can put this gauge on it down here and it is spot on. No problems. I've got new leveling feet coming because I don't think the metal on this floor is going to be very good. So I've got some rubber pads now. There's a whole thing about, you know, it should be solid, bolted, blah, blah, blah. Serdi give you these little square plates. I think a rubber mount is going to be better for this surface on this floor. This is only 100mm thick and it's questionable whether it's all 100mm thick. So I'm going to go with, and if any vibration happens, this thing's just could start moving on the vibration, or at least with a rubber foot, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to stay still. So I'm going to switch over to rubbers. Obviously, I've cleaned all this now. I've actually machined down these bolts and stuff. Fixed the foot brake switch, which was no problem. The only thing I don't have is some cutting, the metric style. I don't have the 60, so the 60 degree that gives me metric, 60 tooth wheel gear. I don't have, so I can't cut anything, so I've got to try and find something that's similar. I've worked out like the DPI and everything like that, but whatever. But yeah, I've got the same feet coming for this, so that's why I've machined all them down to a cone. So they'll just slot into there. I'll push that back. This lathe will do for the minute. I think I want to get a slightly smaller lathe because this is 1 meter in the centres. I think it's just a bit too big for what I'm doing. So I think if we can shrink this up by, you know, I only need I don't know, 750 at the most between the centres, which will shrink the lathe quite a chunk. The only nice thing is this is a big, heavy lathe. So, smart, just come on. So that's really nice. I need to sort out some of the backlash in some of this, but I think that's where I haven't put these done these wheels up properly, because I don't think there's any backlash in the actual thread, so I think it's up this end. But nonetheless, yes, a new feet. That is 100% square at the minute. So when it's roughly down here, can't remember exactly where it was. Where was it? Oh yeah, no, so it was an inch off of absolutely fully done. So that only comes down to there. So I would imagine that's going to be most cylinder heads, easily catered for. I've still got to work that out. Obviously, they're quite a deep head versus the Honda head, which is, a few inches thick. So it needs to be balanced for there, but I think the best way to do it is to do that. What I'm concerned about is still how to put a DTI gauge on it once I'm already there. So if the DTI gauge goes on, this goes pissed, which means I need even more weight on the actual system. Once I get the pilots through, I'll start messing about with it, because once I get the tapered pilots, I can actually check a seat concentricity and see how it's cutting. At the minute, this is all just, yeah. And I've obviously, it's way pissed now, but that's because there's no air on it. Oh yeah, it's really easy to move. I've just been spending some time going through the pilots, and this time it's not even to see what I've got, because I don't actually even know all the numbers. I'm not looking at them. It's to check run out. So I was reading on an American site back in 2014 or 15 that they were having issues with pilots being basically not straight. So as you can see, I've already written on this one. That's right. So I've got them in this tool, and it's repeatable, i.e. I can take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, do what I want, put other ones on, then come back, fully repeatable. Now I haven't got it slammed up against the back, because these ones have got a little, or this particular one has got a little ridge there and a ridge there. But I mean, it's a script. You know what? I'll do it. It's not going to make a blind bit of difference. But there we go. So, but this is 1/1000th. Now, I can't really turn it with one hand, but even with one hand, I think we can say that's 2/1000ths. I can put the gauge, I can try and touch this gauge. Okay, well that probably won't go back. Yeah, I've gone too far, now it's settled. We can see that is all day 2/1000ths. Like, Serdi pilot. Like, carbide doesn't bend. But let's have a look at another one. Right, so another one in. I think early ones came with the chamfer both ends. Mid-era ones came with the chamfer just one end, and then the latest ones are one piece all the way down. Don't ask me why. And if I can get this to focus, I think this is probably going to be it. I'll have to zoom right in. So that's 1.5 thou. So, I mean, yeah, 1.5 thou. Pretty crazy. Right, so I've got another one stacked in there. Now, the reason is because why it matters so much is because this is tolerance stacking. So by the time you get a little bit of wobble in here, now I appreciate I'm measuring it right at the end of this pilot, but by the time you get a little bit of wobble in here, a little bit of wobble in everything else, you're going to stack, and you're going to be way out of your reference anyway. Well, so this one though, I mean, I think you can see that stem moving. Perfect. Not a single problem. Now, the problem is, obviously I've put the tenths down the side. So all of these ones on the top row, let me move the other side. All of them ones on the top row, 0. These ones are 0, so these are all perfect, and the one in the thing, right? Now, there's not one single size I need. The ones in this row are 1/1000ths and above. These are 7/10ths. All of these are 7/10ths. And then there's 2 rows of 2/10ths. Now, I'm saying 2/10ths is good, like, that's decent. but 7/10, and I think that's the 5.5, which is the one I will be using. Can be upside down, isn't it? Yeah, 5.5. Whether you're ever going to be able to see that doesn't really matter. So the 5.5 is 7/10. The 6mm is, I think, 7/10 or more. So yeah, we're going to get new ones of them. I spoke to Serdi, UK, and he is willing to send them out. And if they're not, well, first of all, he's willing to exchange them if they're out. So if I get them and the tolerance is as per, or not this one, this one's a good one. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, she good. If they're out of tolerance, he's willing to take them back. Now, I don't know that if that means he's going to send another one out or what, but he's only willing to do that on this size one, which is the CL style, which means you've got 75mm here and 190mm total, so whatever the hell that works out as. But what I really want is the CLS, CSL, CLS, who knows, CLS I think they are, which have got a longer, this shank is much longer, and then that's shorter, so you get less wobble. Now I'm going to check all of these around the midway, because the midway is where you're actually going to have the guide. It's going to be in this area here. It's not going to be right at the tip. Well, unlikely. Actually, what I'll do is on the Hondas, I can measure where the valve seat is. So I want to get as close to the top of the guide as possible. So then I can, well, I suppose, yeah, I can just run that down, can't I? Because that pinches in quite high on most of the cutters. So we could potentially run, yeah, there's absolutely nothing stopping me running that all the way down. Yeah, no, there's nothing stopping me running that right to there, which will put that all the way down there. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to go and measure the Honda head and see what clearance we've got between the valve seat, which is where I need to put the cutter, and then the clearance to the valve guide. But potentially we could have the valve guide here, which obviously then maybe some of these are a lot better, but then this is still going to cause whip. So there's definitely going to be a tolerance in there, because this is spinning like 250 to 1000 RPM. You're going to have a whip file, which is then going to, you know, make chatter worse and all sorts of things. So let me go and measure it and see. All right, so I've just had a little measure, and it's around 35-36mm from the seat to the top of the guide. So, and we've got plenty of space to get that clamped in there. So realistically, we can get that right down. Well, I mean, I could probably get it to sitting a gnat's cock above the valve guide. So potentially it's going to be, guides are roughly 40mm long, so I'm going to measure 40mm down and do it basically. I suppose I could do it halfway. So if we do it halfway in this pilot, then, you know, if it's good there, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how bent they are. Because I've written down roughly what they are now, so I can check them in the middle. Hopefully it's half. If it's half, then still, you know, up to, well, I mean, still up to 1 thou, do you know what I mean? But like, most of these are going to be within 2-3 tenths, hopefully. So let's see. It's a shame we haven't got a better gauge, but the way that attaches is, yeah, just a bit crappy. Right, so I've got the 5.5mm in, which was actually about just under 7/10 before. So it's literally probably 2/10 now. Something like that. So potentially that's usable. It's hard to say. As I say, so now it's going to have whip in it, and I'll just show you. Like if I slide that along and redo that. Let's have a look. So you can see, yeah, I mean, it needs a cock, doesn't it? It's so hard to, this gauge really isn't accurate enough. But you can see that's like 7/10 all day long. So yeah, and then just move it back. Yeah, I mean, that's not going back to 0, so that is probably 2/10. Yeah, it might be 2/3. That's still quite a lot, more than I was expecting. But I have got most of the ones that are perfect and completely round are big Hummer Chummers. Let's zoom right out. Anything that I do is going to be as good as the tooling. So the 5mm is probably acceptable. Let me see if I can find almost trying to break one. See if I can just find the 6mm. Oh yeah, so that's 6mm. And that is, oh yeah, cool, so that is a thou out. So let's see what that is. That was a thou previously. Let's see what that is now. Doesn't really matter if it's, is that really lined up there? Okay. Let's see if we can, I've got to do it on here. Right, I think we're roughly there. I mean, that's pretty tasty. That's got to be like a 1/10, something in that region. And I measured that at, oh gosh. I mean, yeah, that's a thou. Right, let me check that in the middle again, because I'm not convinced that was actually on there properly. Hopefully it was. That's 9 on the middle. Right, let's see. Yeah, a couple of tenths. So all that wobble, really, because that's you know, that's 4 times the amount at least. So this is okay, the other one's okay. These are the two I'm going to mainly be using. But then, what about whip? Do you know what I mean? You're going to get some whip in that. Almost like you want to cut them off, but that's why I want to go down and go to the other pilots. So it seems to be, so this plate mounts on the shaft that way, and then the grinding wheel goes on the front face, which is the side I'm holding. Seems to be that, sure enough, this has got a decent amount of play in it. So I'm gonna see if I can straighten it out. I've already marked it, so blue's low, red's high. So I'm gonna see if I can just tweak it somehow. I don't think it's gonna take a lot. I'm just unsure of how to do it, because really I need to clamp that in something and then add a little pressure one side. And I think if obviously I tweak this side down, that side will probably go up a little bit. But it's doing it enough and how to do it. Interesting. So I've been putting it in the press with a shim stack under the low side, and we've now got it to, I think it's about 2 thou. Oh gosh. So yeah, we're peaking at 1 somewhere around there, or 0, sorry. Yeah, there's a little high spot there. So I think 2 thou might be all right. Initially it was nearly, what's that, 10 thou. So, and when I took it off, and I basically banged it on the ground a little bit, and it seems to have done, taken it down to 5, and now it's, like I say, I think I might spin it up on there and try it. Unfortunately I've damaged the thread a little bit on the inside, so I need to clear that up, but yeah. hopefully we'll have a straight running or straighter running. I mean, maybe I should keep going a little bit, because tooth out here, which is a really short distance, it's 3-4 times that. So at that point you're going to be at, let's say, 6th hour. Yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Alright, I might give it another tweak and see if I can get it a slight bit better. Alright, so the wheel's back on there, and it's no longer the plate that makes a difference. So I've got some marks on here as I was doing tests, but basically this is a high spot on the wheel, and I can put it anywhere and it stays in the same place. So I think any deviance from that, I've even tried it, you know, where this was low, put this high, see if it didn't make a difference. This now doesn't seem to make a blind bit of difference, so that's good. But yeah, the wheels still, I mean, it was moving like 2 mil up here before. Now it's moving thou, but there still is a, you know, that was me imitating an imbalance. So yeah, at least I've got to drill a hole up here still to put the coolant in, because clearly that other thing is not going to work. I've got to take the plate out of the shaft. Not that I can feel it making any difference whatsoever. And then I'll be able to grind a valve. That's as good as I think I'm going to be able to get it currently. I suppose I could get something to run across the edge here, and just clean that up and see if I could clean an imbalance out. Or I could mic this and see if it gets thinner and thicker. Or is it just the way it was laid and glued? I might check it for thinness and thickness, just to see. Yeah, screw it. So, actually, it is. It's 10.11 millimeters on this side, and it thins out to 9.8 on this side, or 9.86. So it is just thicker right there, which means potentially, if it's thicker there, it's heavier there. And then if I can get these weights, if I can put these weights, which are offset, instead of taking them off, I could potentially put the imbalance in the opposite direction to the maximum amount of weight and sort of do it visually. I'm going to try that. Yeah, that was a complete touch. So sure enough, I've put the thicker side opposite the third weight as such, and yeah, it's got rid of pretty much most of the imbalance. Like it's a slight hum instead of a wob 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 wob, you know. It's more of a, it's absolutely probably acceptable, but that worked out well. I've still got to make a balancing rig for this so I can find out exactly where the heavy point is, because I'm not sure all of them are going to be thicker, but for now I think I've probably nailed that. Next time I come to do it, we'll worry about it then. I think I'll probably know the machine a bit better and know if it matters. So yeah, I'm just going to drill a hole in here, and then I'll be able to reface the surface and then valve.